saw a lot of stuff go down. First, I want to talk about Mike the Miz. I always praise the crafty wrestlers, man. And Mike the Miz, he's had probably one of the biggest chips on his shoulders in the industry. I still don't think that he gets the praise and the acknowledgement that he needs as far as bringing in new talent and really putting wrestlers over and making everybody look good and making the show run. But Mike the Miz and Seth freaking Rollins had a match on Monday Night Raw. It was an absolute banger, man, and that's usually we don't say that about the Miz's matches. You know what I'm saying?
You're absolutely right.
The Miz has banger matches, but this was one of the matches where I felt like the Miz had something to prove. He's been on a losing streak. He's had everybody kind of going over him a little bit, and he's almost becoming an afterthought. And I'm trying to figure out where the Miz is going, because the Miz never really has any storylines. He kind of is always in the middle of somebody else's storyline or somebody else's heat. But the Miz put on an absolute great match, man, against Seth freaking Rollins, where the Miz was the aggressor the whole entire match. And then at the end, Seth freaking Rollins pulled out the curb stomp, and 1, 2, 3, it was over. But I was more impressed with the Miz and what he had to show. Mr. Everything, do you think the Miz has a chip on his shoulder, man? And do you think the Miz has something to prove before this draft comes up?
I think the Miz is falling into the same category as a lot of the other legends that are moving on to other things. The Miz, he's always been an entertainer first. He's doing, Dancing with the Stars. He's doing, some musical now and everything else. So I think Miz is doing his last hurrah in terms of wrestling, and he's wanting to show, like, before he walk out those doors and go and do all his other ventures, he's wanting to show you that he's still who he always has said he was, is the man with the big grapefruits and the awesome one. But it was an amazing match. I was very caught off guard by how good it was, because Monday Night Raw altogether was really good. SmackDown was really good, and it was several matches that really caught my eye, and this was definitely one of them because of the Miz being in it. They talked about how Miz has not had so much good luck in recent history, with him losing to Pat McAfee on WrestleMania Night 1, and then Snoop Dogg on WrestleMania Night 2. If you notice, they didn't even mention Shane McMahon. No mention of Shane McMahon.
No mention of the Transformer.
Yes.
Oh,
but,
man.
they did mention the fact that he has been on, a string of bad luck. I think the last storyline he's actually had was with, what's the weird guy name from
Dexter
NXT?
Lumis.
Yes, Dexter Lumis. That was the last storyline he's had. So, and he's had a little something going on when he was paired up with Tommaso Ciampa. So we'll see how the Miz is going to do from now until SummerSlam. Maybe he's getting prepared for SummerSlam. Anything can be possible at this point.
Anything can be possible, man. I think the Miz is one of those guys who could be a player on any roster, man, because the Miz always makes things interesting, and he's probably one of the best on the mic. I know a lot of people say, what's my man from AEW? Maxwell Jacob Freeman is one of the best. Yeah, he's one of the best on the microphones. I don't know. He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. I don't know if he's touching the Miz though, man. And I think. Go ahead.
I think the difference between the two of them is MJF is good because he just does the realism of whatever he says. Like, it's like he will come up to you and say, "Yeah, I bottle fed your son while you were laying in the hospital," type stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he would go very, very personable with his promos, where the Miz doesn't have to do that and still grabs your attention. He still keeps it within the character of what he's doing and who he's facing, rather than saying, "You know what? Uh, like if he's talking to Roman Reigns, he's talking to Roman Reigns. He's not talking to Joe I know I. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the big difference between the two of them is how the Miz can stay in character and MJF is bring it so personal.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, man. MJF is absolutely great on the mic. It's a little, it's a little scary. I can imagine that every time MJF is on the microphone, Tony Khan just pees a little bit. You just because he doesn't know what these guys are saying, man. I know Tony Khan made a comment not too long ago that he has some of the best talkers in the industry, and I don't know if I quite agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But he has some pretty good people, but they don't really carry on really good storylines. I have not really been that invested into any of the AEW storylines.